Good morning everyone, SigmaOni here and welcome to this video. As some of you might be aware of, visual novels are not exactly known to be the best quality products available on the market, many times especially because of their bad quality-price ratio. However, there is a part of the visual novel world that is capable of resolving this problem and giving good quality products at a really favorable price. These are, you already know the answer if you read the title, free visual novels, which are many times games produced for a game jam by a small dedicated group of people, or small products released to get the name of their developers out there in the wild. If you have watched other videos on my channel, and if you haven't, consider doing that. It might prove a worthwhile use of your time, or maybe not, who knows. You know that I like visual novels and that I have already made a video about free ones. If you haven't watched it, you can do so by clicking on the top right part of the video, but in essence, in there I talked about 7 free visual novels and I ran them using a free tier system. They were either highly recommended, or not recommended. However, in this video I'm not going to do that. All the visual novels I'm going to talk about here are products that I can definitely recommend you. As this video features not that many of them, this time I'm going to talk a bit more in depth about them, while, of course, avoiding making spoilers. A little note about the various visual novels I'm going to talk about here. I played the Steam edition of every one of these games, so that is the edition I'm going to refer to for the whole video. It is possible that they are also available on other websites and platforms, such as itch.io or even the Android store, so if you want to know that, Google is your friend. Also, in the description you will find the Steam link for each one of the visual novels that are going to appear in this video, so if during its whole duration you find a visual novel that does pique your interest, head down there and you can immediately download it and play it. Having said this, I think we can start with the preambles and head straight into the video. Garden of Roses Somerset is the prologue arc of Garden of Roses, a yet-to-be-released visual novel. This game was created and published by Autis Media in 2023 and follows Will Getz, a man who returns to his home city, Edelton, after quite some years in order to settle some not yet specified stuff, who is going to be involved in something bigger than him after his encounter with an ARP by the name of Rosa Oaks. Now, this visual novel is a short introduction to what the Garden of Roses should be. It does nothing more than introducing the characters, the setting, and some of the main mysteries of the game. Because of this, and also because it is a really short experience, the story is not that much present, as its only job is to introduce some elements that are going to be tackled in the finished game and to draw interest to them. So, does it succeed in doing that? Well, yeah. The various mysteries introduced are somewhat intriguing, and considering there is not even a hint to an answer in this prologue, surely can make you interested in the finished product. As for the characters, we have mainly 3 important persons that are introduced in this prologue. Our protagonist, Will Getz, his father, and Rosa Oaks. None of them, however, are really showcased in a satisfactory way from the point of characterization, so I think more could have been done to introduce them. To give a brief introduction to them, Will is a normal guy with a tendency to cause trouble and to apparently hallucinate randomly. His father is a tinkerer that works with not humanoids and knows many things that have and are happening in Edelton. Rosa Oaks is a shy harpy that, between the 3 main characters, is the one connected the most to the various mysteries the game tries to introduce here. Talking about the art style, it is an enjoyable one in terms of CGs, while the backgrounds are probably the most generic thing of the whole package and the character design is seesawing. For example, the Rosa one actually looks good, while the one for Will's father looks way more generic and less well finished than the one of Rosa. As for the sound department, it is nothing egregious and ends up being forgettable. It is there, it does its job, but nothing more. I needed less than an hour to finish it, and this is why I said it is a brief experience. However, it offers some replayability in the form of sound choices that can give you different interactions and scenes. All in all, Garden of Roses Somerset figures here more because of the potential of the finished game rather than because it is a good visual experience. The fundamentals for a good game are present, and this is mainly why I'm talking about this prologue version, because I think that, if they handle it right, Garden of Roses can end up being a pretty good game. Life After Magic is a dating sim visual novel originally produced for the Son of Fest 2022 by Team Starlight and published by Chirazi Games that was then released on Steam in 2023. This game is set in the last weeks of the year 1999 and follows Akiko, an ex-magical girl that, after having saved the Earth together with her team, the Sentinels, had to face life and the consequences of the time she spent as a magical girl, now working in retail at a cosmetic shop after having dropped out of high school and lost contact with her ex-team members. One day, however, after having met one of them for the first time in years, she starts feeling like her magic is disappearing. Because of this, she assembles the team back in order to investigate this strange phenomenon while also trying to get back in touch with them. Now, the premise of this visual novel is something really interesting. It faces the consequences that come after having finished the job of a magical girl and what the time spent doing that actually led to in reality. It is extremely amusing to see how each one of the girls has their view on magic, on having been a magical girl, and what made them become in the present. However, the plot, while being enjoyable, is nothing too egregious, which is not exactly a malus here, as I think the biggest strength of this game is the cast of characters, their interactions, and, well, again, the promise of the whole story. Speaking of which, the characters are really interesting and do not come off as bland or as characters with the depth of a piece of paper. First of all, we have the old member of the Sentinels. These are Boyoung, more commonly called Ara, an idol that used their magical girl career to launch herself in the idol industry, and that used her identity to create a cosmetic line based on the Sentinels. Miranda, a quiet girl that works as a carpenter and has a complex relationship with her magic. Jackie, a cheerful girl that likes dominant women and works as a boxing instructor at her uncle's place. And finally, KJ, a non-binary person that is the epitome of the punk style. Then there is also another important character, Liz, who the game describes as Akiko's work wife, a cheerful and eccentric girl that likes nature. These all have their own route, and I have to say that they are all enjoyable. I never found myself quickly scrolling through their events. The game succeeds in making you invested in them, at least a little bit. We have then some secondary characters who appear in specific routes that are okay, and then the big antagonist, who I would also describe as a good character, though her motivations for what she does are not exactly that much clear, or at least they do not fully explain her actions. The dialogues of this game are mostly well written and sometimes also use emojis, which is a choice that I do not endorse, as it makes it feel like the game is not taking itself that much seriously, though it is always used in less than serious events, so this is not that much of a critic, more like a feeling, but it is one that I do not ultimately hate. Talking about the art style, this game uses pixel art, and a thing I like to say about this style is that good pixel art never ages, and this can be said about Life After Magic. The pixel art in this game is really well done, and I particularly enjoy the characters' sprites and their various expressions, which I think help in giving the characters a bit of life. The backgrounds are also nice, some are better than others, but in general the quality bar is particularly high. As for the music, it is adequate for both the setting of the game, so the 90s, and for its themes. It is nothing unforgettable, but it does its job in setting the atmosphere. I needed around 3.5 hours to finish my first run and around 7 to obtain every achievement in the game, except for paid attention, but that is because a part of the game is kind of bugged, nothing serious, but it's still annoying if you are trying to platinum this game. Which is a really good length for a free visual novel if you consider that many of the visual novels I reviewed in my previous video had a normal length of around less than 3 hours, except for Sun Rider Mask of Arcadius, but that is a special case. Honestly, this game is straight up quality and is probably the one I enjoy the most between the 5 visual novels I'm showcasing here. If you like girls love, magical girls, and enjoy the aesthetic, I highly suggest you play it. After all, it's free, so why not? Also, I need to know more about the logistics and the motives behind Boyoung and the protagonist's relationship with Fulero. How? Why? And why does the game not elaborate these crucial plot points over? We will never know. We will never know. Midnight Witch is a mystery psychological horror visual novel produced and published by Crimson Moon Studio on Steam in 2023. This visual novel follows a university guy in what seems to be a normal day at his university, but that instead becomes his worst nightmare when the new teaching assistant for one of his lectures turns out to be a psychopath with magical powers that holds the world class hostage. Now, the main plot point of this visual novel is discovering the motive behind the actions of Evelyn, the teaching assistant that just so happens to be a psychopath with a love for killing people. And it works. During the whole gameplay, this big question about why was Evelyn doing what she was doing stayed constantly on my mind, and I was always there trying to find some information that could answer this query of mine, and in the end, I think the game gives a satisfactory answer to it, though I have my fair share of problems with this game's ending. I am of course not going to talk about it, but it felt like it just rendered what happened previously kind of useless, as it is nothing more than a cliché ending that made me roll my eyes when I saw it for the first time. Apart from this plot point, the game is approximately divided into 3 sections. The first one is the most impactful one, and I dare to say the best one, where the whole creepy and psychological horror atmosphere that the game tries to create is developed the best. The second one feels more a way to give a reason to the existence of some of the secondary characters that this game offers, while the third one is the one that is used to give to the player the answer it is seeking. This game also tackles some topics that some could find disturbing, which end up being pillars to the plot, as they are a reason why the events you are witnessing are actually happening. In general, the story of Midnight Witch is interesting and well developed, if not for the final part, which is, in my opinion, the one that undermines the plot the most, which is quite strange considering it is also the one that explains why you are partaking in the events of the game. As for the characters, they are the biggest problem of this entire game simply for a fact. They do not exist to be characters on their own, but they do just because the plot requires them to be present. All of them, from the first to the last, serve the plot in some way or another, and if they were to be absent, will take away something from it, but that does not mean that they are good characters, as they end up being stale without any sort of development and, in the end, are nothing more than puppets for the plot to play with. Also, this game frames them as horrible people throughout its whole duration and does not offer practically any redeeming qualities to any of them except for 3: the protagonist, the antagonist, and Jessica. As a matter of fact, because all of them are horrible people, you will come out of this visual novel thinking that the antagonist did nothing wrong, which I don't know whether it is exactly the best message to take away from this visual novel. When I could go on and expose all of the characters that this game offers, what it would end up being is just a collection of one-line sentences that have nothing to say because, again, the characters serve the plot, so the whole reason to exist is a spoiler. As for the graphics, I really like the character's design and in general the art style is enjoyable, from the CGs to the backgrounds to the sprites. Talking about the sound department, the soundtrack is enjoyable and it is used in a positive way to settle the atmosphere, like when it highlights the moment when Evelyn goes in psycho mode while the situation felt safe, for how safe it can be being in the same room with someone that has no problem killing you if you do not follow the rules. I needed approximately 3 hours to finish this visual novel, and as for replayability, this is a linear visual novel with some choices scattered here and there, so there is a little bit of it here, as you can see whether different choices give the same end result or not. Also, if you want to platinum this game, you will probably need to reload some saves in some particular moments in order to obtain all the achievements. Overall, Midnight Witch was a pleasant yet bittersweet experience. I really liked the creepy environment the game tried to set, while I liked less the thematics this game was going for, though this is an extremely personal opinion, and also the final part of it, especially the ending that makes the plot lose a bit of meaning. Find Love or Die Trying is a visual novel developed and published by Oden Cho Wong on Steam in 2021. The game follows a renewable protagonist that partakes in a dating show called Find Love or Die Trying, where it has the objective to get one of the 5 girls present in the show to become its girlfriend by the end of the week, otherwise it is going to be killed. Then the plot deranges on some other stuff, but this is what the main premise of the visual novel is. Now, this game reminds me of another visual novel with some really similar themes, named The Orchard of Stray Sheep. If not for the fact that, while The Orchard of Stray Sheep is a mediocre visual novel at best that wasted every ounce of potential it had, this visual novel actually delivers. Find Love or Die Trying starts by not taking itself too seriously, only to then slowly become more serious as the game goes on, until it totally shifts tone and becomes a mystery game with really light political elements in it. However, while the progression of the plot is enjoyable, I feel that the more it becomes serious, the more it loses some pieces along the street, which is because the plot is not sustained by good world building, as there are many elements that could be considered important for the story that are just slightly introduced and never really expanded upon. This makes the latter part of the game feel like it could have been handled better, while the first part, the lighter one, is actually enjoyable because it doesn't take itself too seriously. If not for when you are reminded that you could die anytime if you do not make the audience engage with your journey towards getting a girlfriend. As for the characters, we have the 5 girls that partake in the show, the host of it, Kat, and then the antagonist of the world game. Let's start talking about the girls that participate in the dating show. We have Ellie, the normal tomboy archetype, Scarlet, an intelligent and charming scientist, Violet, the Ojo-sama of this game, Terra, an eccentric girl who also happens to be a gamer, and Yui, the childhood friend archetype. As you might see, they are not exactly original characters and end up feeling as your average anime character you can find in any featureless products of the anime sphere, which is also not tapped that much by the fact that, when the game shifts tone, some of them end up being just plot devices for the story to advance and nothing more, making it seem like they were not necessary for anything other than for the plot to go on and function. Then we are Kat, so here, have a Smallberg, have a Kit Kat. Kat is the host of the show, a narcissistic and cheerful girl that has more to her than what she shows and that has absolutely done nothing wrong in this game. Finally, the antagonist is clear from the start, and while more motivations are given to it towards the end, they end up being not exactly that well thought, and the main reason he is going to be the villain is, if we do not kill it, we cannot live. So yeah, the characters are essentially a mixed bag that is practically salvaged by Kat and ends up being probably the weakest part of the game, which is something of a given when the presence of some of your characters is attributable only to the plot and nothing more. As for the art style, this is the best aspect of the game. It is really well finished, and from the character design to the CGs to the backgrounds, it is highly enjoyable. Talking about the sound department, the music is extremely forgettable and also influenced by some well-known internet meme tracks and copyright-free music that are going to make you feel like you already know the majority of its soundtrack. I needed approximately 3 hours to finish the game. As for replayability, this game has 8 endings, of which 6 are the various heroines' endings, 1 is the bad ending, and 1 is the meme ending. You can easily obtain every ending in a single run just by saving before some choices, so there is no real reason to play this game more than once. All in all, Find Love or Die Trying is a decent visual novel that starts like a dating sim and ends up like a thriller doing 180 that, unfortunately, is dragged down by its missing of any real world building and by its charters. But in the end, it is still an enjoyable visual novel. It Gets So Lonely Here is a yandere yuri visual novel created and published by ebi-hime, first for the Yandere Game Jam 2023 on Itch.io and then on Steam in the same year. The game follows a young girl as she escapes from a dark presence that is haunting her by going to 3 different places and meeting 3 different girls, one more yandere than the other. As you might guess by the game jam this game was presented in, this visual novel focuses on yandere girls. In fact, in every place you are going to be, you are going to meet a girl who is going to act like a yandere to you in some various ways. Just to let you know, these are some of the characteristics of this visual novel that the ebi-hime wanted to showcase on the Steam page. And I of course want to highlight the fact that this game is an 800 x 600, of course. Talking about the story, it is nothing egregious and is more used to showcase different stories that all end up in a terrible way because of the yandere ghosts you are going to encounter rather than anything else. Nevertheless, it still talks about some topics that may be uncomfortable for some, so if you intend to play this game, read the warning text to know whether you are okay with the themes discussed here or not. The main point of the game is also to show how the protagonist has no real control over what is going to happen to her, as the ending is always the same, and how she needs to understand that she needs to change in order to stop this cycle of never-ending deaths. Apart from this though, I have to say, a round of applause to ebi-hime's writing, I highly appreciate it. The dialogues are well written and probably, between the visual novel of this video, this is the best written one. Not the one that has the best story, but the one that has the best writing. It also comes with a sassy narrator that is going to berate you any chance it has for your poor life decisions if you are into that. Moreover, it is highly appreciated the fact that this little world in which the protagonist is trapped has its own little story that is told through the three ghost tales. It shows care in the construction of the story and of its setting. Talking about the characters, apart from the protagonist and the main antagonist, a subject however I am not going to touch because it just screams spoiler, we have the three yandere ghosts with their own feeble yet well finished backstory that give them a reason for their existence and for their behavior. I won't delve into them that much because I think it is better to experience them rather than hear them be explained in words, and also because practically everything I could say about them would be considered a spoiler, so the only thing I'm going to say about them is that they work, and they indeed love you to death, and give you 3 exciting ways to die. As for the art style, the character design is nice and the CGs are well done. The backgrounds also help in setting the eerie atmosphere this game tries to create, and the GUI of the game is particular enough to actually be remembered even after the game has ended. Talking about the music, it is adequate for the setting the game is going for, however it is not something impressive enough to be remembered, so much so that, at the moment I am writing this, I am trying to re-invoke what the music actually sounded like and I find myself unable to do so. I needed 2 hours to finish this game, and as for replayability, the game itself needs 2 runs in order to be cleared. However, after that, I don't know whether the game can actually offer something in order to make you do a 3rd run, but I think that is the maximum you are going for. I think that after 3 runs, the game has nothing else to offer you. It Gets So Lonely Here is a little strange game that features yandere girls, Yuri, which is always a plus, and a really good writing. It is surely a niche experience, I don't think it is a game for everyone, but if what I showcased here piqued your interest, then I suggest you give it a try. Even I at first wasn't really sure whether this was my cup of tea, and, well, after playing it I can safely say it is not, but it is still a quality experience for those who are willing to try it. Now, these were the 5 visual novels I wanted to talk about. Before concluding this video, however, I want to give you a personal ranking of these visual novels. Ready? Then let's get started. In 5th place we have Garden of Roses Somerset, the least exciting between the visual novels I have presented here, but one that makes me hope that the final game is going to be something worthy of being played. In 4th place we have Find Love or Die Trying, good first part, it loses steam the more it goes on, and has an important charter problem, especially when it comes to using them as plot devices, though it shares this problem with the 3rd place, Midnight Witch. Really cool horror setting, Evelyn is great as the antagonist, but the characters are just outrageously bad people without any redeeming quality for the sake of the plot, and they exist to be played with by it. The final is also not exactly stellar, but it is not that great of an issue, it is just cliché, nothing more, nothing else. In 2nd place, It Gets So Lonely Here, and no, I actually didn't think I would have enjoyed a visual novel that deals with yandere girls as much as I did. The dialogues are really well written, there is a really essential yet appreciated world building, 3+1 yandere ghosts who really love in different ways, and the classic sassy narrator that is necessary in these types of experiences to lighten up the mood while also keeping it creepy enough. Finally, in 1st place we have Life After Magic, might say the best visual novel of the bunch. Really cool concept that was egregiously built upon, good characters, enjoyable pixel art, with the only negative things being the overall simplicity and predictability of the plot and the use of emojis in dialogues, which, again, I don't hate, they kind of fit the historic period, after all, but I also do not endorse. With this we have reached the end of the video, thank you very much for arriving here and thank you for watching it. I hope the 5 visual novels I've showcased here have piqued a bit of your interest. If not, consider there's still another video about 3 visual novels that you can watch in order to search for something that actually suits your taste. If you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing to the channel. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. And I think that your brain can continue on from here with all the other stuff that normally YouTubers say. With this, I don't think I have anything else to say, so this was all from SigmaOni, and I'll see you all in my next video.